Okay, so think about your day. Every single day, right, you're interacting with digital technology. Maybe you're typing a quick search query, asking an AI for a summary of something. These tools are just woven into life now. But what if there's this whole invisible world underneath, these, let's call them hidden forces, shaping those experiences in ways you probably don't even consider? We're not just talking algorithms here, it's bigger, much more interconnected. So, our mission today, we want to go beyond just looking at, this AI or that search engine. We need to understand the vast, intricate systems actually at play. Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into sources that show this really complex dance. It's between you, the user, the platform's publishers, advertisers, even regulators. It's like this living ecosystem. And today we're really exploring how search and AI are coming together, not just technically, but as, well, a systemic transformation.
And that's precisely it. This is where systems thinking becomes, honestly, your indispensable guide. It's the lens you really need to truly grasp where this whole digital world is actually heading. Systems thinking, it's not just jargon, it's the framework that helps you see why a seemingly small tech change can totally rewire your digital life, often in ways nobody really intended. So instead of just asking, okay, how powerful is this AI model,
Right.
we start asking different questions, like how do all these pieces interact? What are the ripple effects? What's fascinating here is that shift from just looking at the tech in isolation to understanding the interactions. That's where the really big challenges and the opportunities pop up.
That really is the key, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just so easy to get caught up in the shiny new thing, the latest AI breakthrough. We tend to think about tech in these neat little boxes, the algorithm over here, the data centers over there. But systems thinking, it really pushes us, challenges us to think bigger, to connect those dots. It invites us to see, I think, three crucial elements that often get missed. First, it's about seeing connections over components. Think about a search engine, its actual value.
Yeah.
It isn't just that massive list of websites it holds.
Exactly. The index itself isn't the magic.
No, it's how it connects you, the user, looking for something, with, say, the business's advertising and the people actually creating the content.
Yeah.
Without those connections, that index is just static. The network creates the value. Okay, second, we need to spot the feedback loops. These are the cycles where, an output from one thing becomes an input for the next, driving more change, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Like imagine a positive loop. You use an AI, that interaction generates data. That data improves the AI, it gets more helpful, attracts more users, which means even more data.
A reinforcing cycle. Yeah.
Exactly. But then you have the negative loops, like spammy SEO tactics trying to game the system. That can degrade the quality for everyone, making search worse. And then there are these things called emergent properties. These are outcomes that nobody explicitly designed. They just emerge naturally from how the system interacts. And they're often the most surprising, sometimes the most disruptive. Like perfect examples we're seeing discussed now.
Yeah.
Zero-click search, where the AI just gives you the answer so you never click the link.
Right, bypassing the source entirely.
Completely. Or those sometimes bizarre AI hallucinations, where the model just confidently makes stuff up. These aren't necessarily bugs in the code. They're features, almost, of a really complex system interacting.
That's such a critical point. By focusing on the whole system, not just the individual bits, we get something really powerful. We get foresight, the ability to anticipate some of these risks. And maybe more importantly, it helps us spot those leverage points, places where a small, smart intervention could have a really big positive impact, help shape a healthier ecosystem. This raises an important question, though. How many of these, unintended consequences in tech over the years could we have maybe foreseen or at least lessened if we'd taken this kind of systems approach earlier on?
That idea of emergent properties is kind of mind-bending. But to really get a handle on the forces driving things now, we need to look at specific feedback loops, the ones actively reshaping how search and AI are converging, often kind of invisibly. Here's where it gets really interesting. These loops show how tiny adjustments can ripple out and just totally change the game. Let's start with the AI learning loop. This is classic reinforcement, a cycle of really rapid growth. It explains why the big platforms scale so incredibly fast. It starts with you interacting with an AI. That interaction, that's data. That data then improves the model, which gives better results. Better results bring in more users.
Who create more data.
Exactly. And the cycle just keeps going. The system gets smarter, faster, it snowballs.
It's a powerful engine for innovation, absolutely. But what about the other side? The people creating the actual content the AI might be summarizing. How does this affect them?
Yeah. That brings us to the content creator value loop. And honestly, It looks like it's starting to break down. Historically, this loop was like the lifeblood of the open web. Publishers made good content, search engines sent people there, that traffic generated ad money, which funded more content. A nice symbiotic relationship.
It worked mostly.
It did. But now, when AI just gives you the answer directly, often without sending you to the source, that loop starts to unravel. It cuts off the financial lifeline for publishers. It really threatens the whole sustainability of creating quality information online.
And if that loop breaks down too much, that could lead us somewhere even more problematic.
Absolutely. And that path leads to a potentially degenerative loop, the AI-generated content loop. This is where things could get really messy. AI makes it super easy now to just flood the web with synthetic, machine-written content.
Yeah.
The danger is that future AIs might start training on their own outputs or just other low-quality AI stuff. If that happens, you could get what some experts call model collapse.
Like an echo chamber of degrading quality.
It's exactly. The AI basically starts feeding on its own biased, potentially inaccurate outputs, getting dumber over time.
Oh.
Imagine the internet just filling up with AI-generated noise, burying genuine human insight. It's a scary thought, but okay, it's not all a doom and gloom. There's also an adaptive loop, the SEO to LSO adaptation loop. This one offers maybe a bit of balance. As traditional SEO, search engine optimization, becomes less effective because AI is doing the summarizing.
People adapt.
Right. Content creators are already starting to figure out LLM search optimization, or LSO, which basically means structuring your content so AI models can easily digest it, understand it, summarize it accurately, almost like writing an FAQ just for the AI. Now, this could restore some balance, but, and this is a big but, only if creators can still find ways to get paid, find sustainable incentives in this new setup.
What you've just laid out there, it really shows how tangled these connections are and how fast they're changing. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it's so clear these loops aren't working in isolation. They're constantly bumping into each other, influencing each other, reshaping the whole landscape. That's what makes it all so dynamic and, yeah, frankly, often hard to predict. Understanding these interactions is absolutely key.
That flows perfectly into one of the real core ideas of systems thinking. Every action, every innovation, even the best-intentioned ones, creates new consequences. It's never just about the direct effect, it's the ripples. So take AI summaries. They're designed to help you get info faster. Sounds great, but like we said, they might unintentionally wreck publisher finances by cutting out the clicks, starving the very sources providing the info.
A classic unintended consequence.
Totally. Or think about these licensing deals popping up between AI companies and publishers. They're meant to ensure fair payment for content. Seems sensible, right? A solution to that broken loop. But they might unintentionally concentrate even more power with the few huge platforms that can afford big deals.
Squeezing out the smaller players.
Exactly. Squeezing out independent voices who just don't have that bargaining power. And then you have regulations, often aimed at good things, like stopping monopolies. But they could unintentionally slow down innovation if only the big companies, the incumbents with armies of lawyers, can easily comply, while smaller startups get bogged down.
It's such a critical point. You absolutely cannot just look at the immediate, the first-order effect. You have to examine the second and third-order consequences, the stuff that ripples out later, further down the line. This is where that real critical thinking has to kick in, questioning assumptions about things that seem purely beneficial at first glance. What's fascinating here is how often a fix for one problem accidentally creates brand new problems somewhere else in the system. It turns a solution into just the next puzzle.
So putting it all together, this convergence of search and these large language models, LLMs, it's way more than just a tech upgrade. It really is a systemic transformation. It's changing fundamental things about how we interact with information.
Yeah.
At every level. Think about it. It's changing how you find and interact with knowledge. Moving from clicking links to maybe having a conversation with an AI.
A very different experience.
Huge difference. It's changing how publishers capture value. Moving away from just clicks and ads towards maybe these licensing deals or totally new models we haven't even thought of yet. And it's changing how regulators have to step in. They're shifting from just monitoring ad markets to scrutinizing data access, partnerships, the AI training data itself.
And that's the core of it. The system isn't fixed. It's incredibly dynamic. It's adaptive, which means the future isn't some set path we're just walking down. No, it's being actively shaped, co-created by everyone's decisions today. Developers building the AI, policymakers setting rules, publishers deciding how to adapt, and importantly, you, the user, choosing how you engage. This raises an important question. Given we're all part of this system, How do we actually contribute, consciously or unconsciously, to co-creating this future? And, maybe more importantly, what kind of digital future do we actually want?
Okay, so let's bring this home. What does all this mean for you listening right now? Whether you're here leading a team, innovating, creating content, or just, trying to make sense of this rapidly changing digital world. Systems thinking isn't just academic theory. It's like your GPS. It's a practical tool for navigating all this uncertainty. By mapping out these connections, these feedback loops we talked about, you can start to spot those leverage points.
There's places where a small push can make a big difference.
Exactly. Those spots where a small, strategic action can have a really significant outsized impact on the whole system. For instance, pushing for more transparency in AI answers. That's not just a nice to have. It could seriously boost user trust by showing where info comes from and support publishers by giving proper credit, proper attribution.
Strengthening that value loop again.
Right. Or, say, investing in high-quality, human-created content. That's not just about good journalism or entertainment. It could actively slow down that potentially harmful AI-generated content loop we worried about. By providing better, more diverse training data for future AIs, making sure the internet stays a source of actual insight. These aren't just tiny tweaks. They're small actions, potentially, with big ripple effects. They can nudge the whole system.
Precisely. And recognizing those crucial intervention points, that requires getting beyond just the surface level analysis. It demands that systems level insight, seeing the whole forest, not just the individual trees, and understanding the web that connects them all. And that insight ultimately empowers us to make much more informed decisions, hopefully steering this incredibly dynamic digital future towards something more sustainable, more resilient for everyone involved.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the main thing to remember is this: the future of how we find and use information. It won't just be decided by clever algorithms. It's going to emerge from these often hilly forces of systemic interaction. All those feedback loops, the emergent behaviors, those unintended consequences we unpack today. The good news, though, is that those who really learn to see the system, to understand how it works, they'll be in the best position not just to adapt, but maybe to thrive and even help shape where it goes next.
And perhaps a final thought to leave you with. What our conversation really highlights today is that understanding these interconnections in our digital world, it gives us more than just insight. It gives us agency. It really challenges us all to think, where might my actions, my choices, create ripples in this huge digital ocean? And are those ripples helping build a better future, or are we just letting the currents pull us along? The choice, I think, in many ways, is ours to make.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Now, as you go about your digital day-to-day, maybe start observing these systems. See if you can spot some of those hidden forces at play in your own interactions. You might be surprised what you find.